Okay, good morning, Doc. Good morning, classmates. Today this is my report is the continuations of the chapter 6, which is foundations of business intelligence, databases, and information management. So, so my report is focuses on using database improve business performance, decision making, and managing data resources. So, in 2028, a number of prominent American computer scientists popularized the term, predicting that big data computing will be transform the activities of companies, scientists, researchers, medical practitioners, and our nation's defense and intelligence operations. The term big data computing, however, is never defined in the paper. So the traditional database of authoritative definitions is, of course, yung Oxford English Dictionary. So, OAD defines a big data, a data of a very large size, typical to the extent that its manipulations and management is significant logistics challenges. This is the 2014, and maybe the first place to look for a definition should be the Wikipedia. So, indeed, it looks like the OED followed its lead. So, Wikipedia defines um, big data and all-encompassing terms for any collections of datasets so large and complex that it becomes difficult to process using on-hand data management tools or traditional data processing applications. Um, the widely quoted 2011 Big Data study by McKinsey highlighted that the definitional challenges define big data as a data sets whose size is beyond the ability of the typical database software tools to capture, store, manage, and analyze. The McKinsey researchers acknowledge that this definition is intentionally subjective and incorporates a moving definitions of how big data sets needs to be in order to be considered big data. So, and according to information systems, this is the ability of a society to harness information in novel ways to produce useful insights of goods and services of the significant value and things one can do at a large scale that cannot be done at a smaller one to extract new insights and create a new forms of value. So, ano nga ba yung mga what are the types of the big data? So, according to Richard Allen, as the internet ages surge on, we create an unfathomable amount of data every second. So much so that we denote it simply as big data. Naturally, businesses and analysts want to crack open all the different types of big data for the use information inside, but it's not so simple. The different types leverage very varying data tools and have different complications in a company working with each individual data points plucked out of the vast ether. So, to quantify it, more than 33 zettabytes of data floated around the internet in servers and on the computers a couple of years back. Um, it's probably as 33 trillion gigabytes. So big data classified into three ways. Ito yung structured, unstructured, and the semi-structured data. So for the structured data, it is the easiest to work with. It's a highly organized with the dimensions defined by set parameters. Uh, Think spreadsheets. Every piece of information is grouped into rows and columns. So specific elements defined by certain variables are easily discoverable. It's all your quantified data. Like for example, yung age, yung billing, yung contact, yung address, expenses, debit card or numbers. Because structured data is already tangible number, it's much easier to a program to sort through the collected data. Structured data also follows a CMAS, essentially roadmap to specific data points. This CMAS outlines where each datum is and what it means. A payroll database will lay out employees' identification information, yung pay rates, yung hour works, how compensation is delivered, and etc. etc. So sa unstructured data naman is not all data is neatly packed and sorted with instructions on how to use a structured data is. So the consensus is no more than 20% of all data is structured. So what the remaining 4/5 of all the information out there, since it's structured, we will naturally call this unstructured data. So unstructured data is all your unorganized data. You might be able to figure out why it's constitutes so much of the modern data library. Almost everything you do with a computer generates unstructured data. Um, for the semi-structured data, it's the data toes the line between structured in and structured. So most of the time, this translates to unstructured data with the metadata attached to it. This can be inherent data collected, such as time, yung locations, yung device, ID stamp, or email address, or it can be a semantic tag attached to the data later. So let's say you take a pictures of your cat from your phone. It automatically logs the time the picture was taken, the GPS data at the time of the capture and your device ID. If you're using any kinds of web service for storage, like your iCloud, your account info becomes attached to the file. So if you send an email, the time sent, email address to and from, and the IP address from the device sent from, and other pieces of information are linked to the actual contents of the email. So, ano ba yung mga challenges ng big data? So, here's 10 big data challenges and paano natin ito i-address. So, a well-executed big data strategy can streamline operational costs, reduce time to market, and enable new products. But enterprises face a variety of big data challenges in moving initiative from boardroom discussions to practices that work. So, IT and the data professionals need to build out the physical infrastructures for moving data from different sources and between multiple applications. They also need to meet requirements for performance, um, scalability, timeliness, security, and data governance. In addition, implementation costs must be considered upfront as they can quickly spiral out of control. Perhaps most importantly, enterprises need to figure out how and why big data matters to their business in the first place. So, Unang challenge is managing large volumes of data. So big data by its definition typically involves large volumes of data. Data houses in disparate systems and platforms. So sabi ni cyber law, the first challenge for the enterprise is consolidating the extremely large data sets they're extracting from the CRM and the ERP system and other data sources into a unified and manageable big data architecture. So how you gonna address this? Once you have a sense of data that's being collected, it becomes easier to narrow and on insight by making small adjustments. To enable that, um, plan for an infrastructure that allows for the incremental change. Attempting big changes may just end up creating new problems. So second is finding and fixing data quality issues. The, analytics algorithms and artificial intelligence applications built on the big data can generate bad results when data quality issues creep into big data system. This problem can become more significant and harder to audit as data management and analytics teams attempt to pull in more different types of data. So ayon kay Blender, an online marketing for the fighting web shopping assistants who help people buy products and arrange shipments. Experienced these problems firsthand as it scaled to 500 customers. A key growth driver for the company was the use of big data to provide a highly personalized experience, reveal upselling opportunities, and monitor new trends. Effective data quality management was a key concern. So, you need to monitor and fix the data quality issue constantly. So duplicate entries and the typos are common, especially when the data comes from the different sources. To ensure the quality of the data they collect, um, they, uh, they should create an intelligent data identifier that matches duplicates with the minor data variances and reports any possible typos. That has improved the accuracy of the business insight generated by the analyzing the data. So the third one is dealing with the data integrations and preparations complexities. So big data platforms solve the problems of collecting storing large amounts of data of different types, and the quick retrieval of data that's needed for an analytic uses. But the data collection process can still be very challenging. Um, said Rosario Solipo, and the principal data scientist at the open source analytics platform vendor. So, the integrity of the enterprise's collected data stores is dependent on them being constantly updated. This requires maintaining access to a variety of data sources and having dedicated big data integrations strategies. So how you gonna address this one? Some enterprises use a data lake as a catch-all repository for sets of big data collected from diverse sources. Without thinking through how the disparate data will be integrated, various business domains, for example, produce data that is important for joint analysis, but this data often comes with a different underlying semantics that must be disambiguated. So next one is scaling big data system efficiently and cost effectively. So enterprises can waste a lot of money storing big data if they don't have a strategy for how they want to use it. Organizations need to understand that big data analytics starts at the data ingestion stage. So curating enterprise data repositories also requires consistent retention policies to cycle out of old information, especially now because data that predicts the COVID-19 pandemic is often no longer accurate in today's markets. So, thus, data management team should plan out the types, um, schemas, and uses of data before deploying big data system. But that's easier said than done. So oftentimes you start from the data models and expand out, but quickly realize the model doesn't fit your new data points, and you suddenly have technical that you need to resolve. So a generic data lake with the appropriate data structure can make it easier to reuse data efficiently and cost effectively. For example, Parquet files often provides a better performance to cost ratio than CSV dumps within a data lake. So fifth is evaluating and selecting big data technologies. So ayon kay Landy Hensarling, it recommends teams start by considering current and future needs for data from streaming and batch source, such as yung mainframes, clouds, applications, and third-party data services. For example, enterprise-grade streaming platforms to consider includes APEC, Kafka, APEC Pulsar, AWS, Kinesis, and Google Pub yourself, all of which provides a seamless movement of data between clouds, on-premises, and hybrid cloud system. So next, a team should start evaluating the complex data preparations capabilities requires to feed machines, learning, and other advanced analytic system. So it's also important to plan for where the data might be processed, first circumstances where latency is an issue. Teams need to consider how to run analytics and AI models on edge servers and how to make it easy to update the models. These capabilities needs to be balanced against the cost of deploying and managing the equipments and applications run on the premises, in the clouds, or in the edge. So six is the generating business insight. It's tempting for the data teams to focus on the technology of the big data, so rather than outcomes. So in many cases, um, Silifo has found that the much less attention is placed on what to do with the database. So generating valuable business insights from the big data applications in the organization requires considering scenarios like creating KPI-based report, identifying useful predictions, or making different types of recommendations. This effort will require input from the mixed business analytics professionals, statisticians, and the data scientists with machine learning expertise. So the uh, seventh is hiring and retaining workers with the big data skills. So isa rin to sa big challenges ng big data. One of the biggest challenges regarding big data software development is finding the and retaining workers with the big data skills. Ito yung mga ITs. This particular big data trend isn't likely to go away soon. A report from the S&P Global found that cloud architects and data scientists are among the most in-demand positions in 2021. So one strategy for finding them is to partner with the software development services companies that have already built out talent pools. So another strategy is to work with the HR to identify and address any gaps in existing big data talent. So number 8 is the keeping costs from getting out of control. So another common big data challenges is what David Marini is refers to as the cloud bill heart attack. Many enterprises uses existing data consumption metrics to estimate the cost of their new big data infrastructure, but that's a mistake. One issue is that companies underestimate the surge demands for the computing resources that expanded access to richer data sets creates. The cloud in particular makes it easier for the big data platform to surface richer, more granular data, a capability that can drive up costs because cloud systems will elastically scale to meet user demand. So, how they will address this? One good practice is to um, OPT for fixed resource pricing, but that won't completely solve the problems. Although the meter stops at a fixed amount, purely written application may still end up eating resources that impact other users and workloads. So another good practice lies in implementing fine-grained controls over queries. So second, the last is governing big data environment. So data governance issues because harder to address as big data applications grow across more systems. This problem is compounded as a new cloud architectures enable enterprises to capture and store all the data they collect in its unaggregated form. So protected informations field can accidentally creep into a variety of applications. Um, Sabi nga ni Mariani, without a data governance strategy and control, much of the benefits of the broader, deeper data access can be lost. So, how will it address this? A good practice is to treat data as a product. With the built-in governance rules instituted from the beginning, investing more time upfront in identifying and managing big data governance issues will make it easier to provide self-service access that doesn't require oversight of each new use case. So, uh, the last challenges is ensuring data context and use cases are understood. So, enterprises also tend to overemphasize the technology without understanding the context of the data in its uses for the business. There is often a tons of effort put into thinking about big data storage, architecture, security, frameworks, and ingestions, but very little thoughts put into the overthink users and use cases. So teams need to think about who will refine the data does um, and how does closest to the business problems need to collaborate with those closest to the technology to the manage risk and ensure proper alignment. This involves thinking about how to democratize the data engineering. It's also helpful to build out a few simple end-to-end use cases to get early wins, understand the limitations, and engage users. So this is all the database challenges. So next slide is uh, importance of the business intelligence. So we are currently living in the era of the technological advancement, and it has a completely transformed not only our lives but the way we conduct our business operations. So organizations that have the access to the data-driven tools enable them to gather more information about their consumers, but not all companies have utilizes. What is the role of the business intelligence and why does it matter to your business? So this one. Also, what is the business intelligence technology? Business intelligence combines business analytics, data mining, visualizations, data tools, and infrastructure. So, what is in business intelligence means? So, it refers to the process of collecting, integrating, analyzing data to support better business decisions. It covers multiple approaches that allows the business from the finance, sales, marketing, and other departments. So, business intelligence is sometimes confused with the business analytics. So, the difference between these two terms is the question they answer. So, yung business analytics deals with the questions of why to make educated predictions about what will happen. So, business intelligence is, on the other hand, answer the questions of what and how to keep what works and change what does not. So, how can the business intelligence help your businesses? So, adopting business intelligence provide multiple benefits to your business departments, uh, like data-driven business decisions, increase efficiency, boost ROI, increases competitiveness advantage, improve customer experience. So, for sales, yung business intelligence provides your team with an in-depth conversation, analytics, and revenue analysis to better assist them in identifying what's working or not and help them improve sales performance. So for the human resource department naman, implementing business intelligence can provide them with an insight into employee satisfactions and utilize it for the compensations and payroll tracking. For the finance department, business intelligence provides invaluable insight into financial data that will help them identify potential problem areas that could cause a negative impacts on the stability of the business. Also, business intelligence allows executives to eliminate gray areas that may affect the growth of the company and increase efficiency and productivity, leading to more business opportunities. So, beside the benefits mentioned for the different departments within organizations, the following is a few more advantage of the business intelligence. So, first is deep understanding of customer behavior. So, the data you can gather through business intelligence analysis allows you to monitor patterns you have that help you have a better understanding of the current trends. This will enable you to deliver products or services that will meet the demands of the markets. The second is improve marketing and sales intelligence. Business intelligence can help you improve your competitive edge in today's market. Business intelligence can be used to analyze metrics and um, and turn this data into more actionable information. Once you have a deeper understanding of how customers interact with your business, you can find solutions to their current challenges and increase sales with the target messages. So third is visibility of your core business components. Business intelligence makes it simpler for executives and leaders to see each component of the business and reach those that are often overlooked. In turn, they can easily identify what needs to improve or change. So the fourth one is to develop a more effective business model. When you have all the data inside customer habits and other metrics, you'll be able to create a more effective, stable, and result-oriented business model. Today's digital environment enables us to get what we need within a few clicks, and being able to utilize the information from the business intelligence is essential to our strategy. So, so nowadays, the business intelligence market is heating up. Both the investment community and the IT circle are paying close attention to the big data and business intelligence. But do you know what problems business intelligence can solve, and what kinds of business intelligence tools can be considered good? So first is managing security and architectures of the BI platform. So good business intelligence tools can achieve platform security, manage platforms users, monitor access and usage, optimize performance, support operations in different operating systems, and ensure systems high availability and disaster recovery. So as part of enterprise informations, there are many reasons for the business intelligence platform to do separate management and disaster recovery. On, on the one hand, government, internet companies, and large enterprises attach great importance to the informatization constructions and require separate maintenance. On the other hand, business intelligence teams have gradually become the support of business management decisions and play an increasing role. Enterprises require business intelligence systems to provide stable service throughout the day. So next is you make metadata management. So user can centrally manage metadata including searching, extracting, processing, storing, sharing metadata, and publishing metadata externally. So the metadata here is focused on the dimensions, indicators, hierarchies, measures, and other data required for the business analysis. It also includes some processes data such as KPI, personal sales, a single product sales, and other data. At the same time, the system support administrators to associate and integrate metadata processed and stored by user with the underlying data connected to the business intelligence platform. So next tools is analytics dashboard. Create a highly interactive dashboard in content with a visual exploration, operations, and embed advanced uh, geospatial analysis. Geospatial analysis. The analytics dashboard can also be understood as interactive chart components such as common bars charts, line charts, scattered plot, etc., as well as advanced rectangular tree chart, multi-layered donut chart, administrative geographic maps and custom maps, heat maps, flow maps, and more. The main point here is that this chart should be built in the business intelligence tools and at the same time it supports business staff to simply drag and drop to achieve chart display. From the time being, this trend is quite obvious. Next is interactive visual exploration. Explore and analyze data with a series of common and special charts. These conventional charts are mainly pie chart, line chart, etc. While special charts refers to special visual effects such as the heat map, flow map, rectangular tree map, and the GIS geographic information maps. Of course, in addition to the richness and beauty of charts, you also need to pay attention to the interactive operations. So, next topic is in databases and the web. So, linking international database to the web. So, have you ever tried to use web to place an order or view a product catalog? If so, you were probably using a website link to an internal corporate business. So, so uh, nowadays, many companies now use the web to make some of the information in their internal databases available to the customers and business partners. Suppose, for example, a customer with a web browser wants to search an online retailer database for pricing information. If you can see in this figure, illustrate how the customer might access the retailer internal database um, over the web. So the user access the retailer's website over the internet using the browser's software on his or her client's PC. The user web browser software requests data from the organization database using the HTML commands to communicate with the web server. Because many back-end database cannot interpret commands written in HTML, the web servers passes this request for data to software that translates HTML commands in the SQL. So the commands can be processed by the DBMS, the database management system, working with the database and in a server environment. The DBMS resides on a dedicated computer called a database server. So the DBMS receives the SQL request and provides the required data. So middleware uh, transfer information from the organization's internal database back to the web service for a delivery in forms of a web page to the user. So this figure shows that the middleware working between the web server and the DBMS is an application server running on its own dedicated computer. So this application server software handles all the application's operations, including transaction processing and data access between browser-based computers and companies' back-end business applications or database. The application server takes a request from the web server, runs the business logic to process transactions based on those requests, and provide connectivity to the organization's back-end system or database. So, alternatively, the software from the handling these operations could be custom programs or the CGI script. CGI script is a compact program using common gateway interface specifications for the processing data on a web server. So there are a number of advantages to using the web to access an organization's internal database. First, web browser software is much easier to use than proprietary query tools. Second, yung web interface requires few and no changes to the internal database. It costs much less to add a web interface in front of the legacy system than to redesign and rebuild the system to improve user access. Um, so, other companies have created entirely new businesses based on the access to a large database through the web. So, one is the social networking service. This is the Facebook, which helps users stay connected with each other and meet new people. Yung Facebook features profile which information on the more than 950 million active users with information about themselves, including interests, friends, photos, and groups with which they are affiliated. So Facebook maintains a massive database to house and manage all of this content. There are also many web-enabled databases in the public sector to help consumers and citizens access helpful information. The interactive sessions and the organizations describe one of these databases, which has generated controversies over its method for providing customer product and safety. So next topic is establishing an information policy. So every business, large and small, needs an information policy. Your firm's data are an important resources, and you don't want people doing whatever they want with them. So you need to have a rules on how the data are to be organized and maintained, and who is allowed to view the data or change them. So here's the information policy. So it specifies the organization's rules for sharing, disseminating, acquiring, standardizing, classifying, and inventorying information. Information which users and organizational units mm, information policy lays out specific procedures and accountabilities identifying which users and organizational units can share information, where information can be distributed, and who is responsible for updating and maintaining the information. Like for example, a typical information policy would be specify that only selected members of the payroll and the human resources development would have the right to change and view sensitive employee data such as employee salary or social security number, and that those departments are responsible for making sure that such employee data are accurate. So, if you're a small business, the information policy would be established and implemented by the owners or managers. In a large organization, managing and planning for the information as a corporate resource often requires a formal data administration function. So, what is data administration? So, is responsible for the specific policies and procedures through which data can be managed as an as an organizational resource. These responsibilities include developing information policy, planning for data, overseeing logical database design and data dictionaries development, and monitoring how information system specialists and end user group use data. So next is ensuring data quality. So a well-designed database and information policy will go a long way toward ensuring that the business has the information it needs. However, additional steps must be taken to ensure that the data in organizational database are accurate and remain reliable. So, so what would happen if a customer's telephone number or your account balance were incorrect? What would be the impact if the database had the wrong price for the product you sold, or your sales systems and inventory system show different prices for the same product? So data that are incorrect, inaccurate, untimely, or inconsistent with other sources of information lead to incorrect decisions, product recalls, and financial losses. So, before the data is in place, organizations need to identify and correct their faulty data and establish better routines for editing data once their database is in operation. So, analysis of data quality often begins with the data quality. So, ano ba yung data quality? It is a structured survey of accuracy and the level of completeness of the data in information systems. Data quality audits can be performed by the surveying entire data files, surveying samples from the data files, or surveying end users for their perceptions of the data quality. So, um, katulad din siya ng kung gusto mong magtayo ng isang business. So, kailangan mo ka muna mag-conduct ng feasibility study kung accurate ba yung lugar na pagtatayuan mo, kung uh, patok pa siya sa mga tao sa lugar na yun, sa vicinity na yun, is okay ba siya, or in demand ba yung business na itatayo mo, or kailangan talaga siya ng mga taong doon sa lugar na pagtatayuan mo. So, katulad din siya sa data, meron tayong ginagawang data quality audit. So, next is yung data cleaning. So, this is also known as a data scrubbing, consists of the activities around detecting and correcting data in database that are incorrect, incomplete, improper formatted, or redundant. So, data cleansing not only corrects errors but also enforces consistency among different sets of data that originated in separate information systems. Specialized data cleansing software is available to automatically survey data files, correct errors in the data, and integrate the data in a consistent company-wide format. So, that's it for the ensuring data quality. And that is for my report. Last report under chapter 6.